Hello, Dr. Ryan Van Duzen, and I am the Risk and Compliance Manager here at K-State. And I want to talk to you today about our threat management process. I'm going to use some words interchangeably between CERT and threat management policy. CERT is our student version of this, which is the Critical Incident Response Team. And so as I talk about this, I may use some of these words interchangeably, or these acronyms. Now, we look basically when we look at threat and threatening situations, we look at our two main policies, which is our PPM 3015, the threat management policy, and there's a link here. And again, that looks at threatening and disruptive behaviors on campus and or amongst the campus community. And the threat management policy is one of our few policies that we have on our campus that reaches off campus. So if an individual is engaging in activities in the community or in the greater community, that we can use that information to make a determination whether that threat would then be carried to campus. The second piece and second policy we have is our withdrawals from the university for serious disruptive behaviors. This policy is administered through the Office of Student Support and Accountability, and that looks at if a student is engaging in behaviors and is a threat to themselves or to the campus community to the point where they need to be temporarily removed from the community, we can use this process to remove that student or that individual. Now, when we look at a crisis or a situation, an evolving crisis, and we look at this pyramid because it just really is a good example of kind of how if we can handle and support an individual at the lowest level possible at the earliest time and intervene, then they potentially will be more successful in helping that person navigate through their crisis, through their university experience. Now, what we're doing is, again, we're creating a supportive campus and education where it's a culture of support, right? And so people tell us they're having a concern or an issue, and we help them through that. And then we use that early intervention supports, and we're going to talk about these more in detail in a few minutes, to get them to the point where maybe they're being more successful. And then it could ratchet up into the ultimate would be a critical incident response team or a threat management team, depending on who that individual may be. Now, for early intervention, we use and we refer students to the multiple resources, the rich resources we have on our campus to provide support. So that whether that's Academic Achievement Center for academic needs, the Office of Student Support and Accountability for referral, student concern reports. Student concern reports are behaviors that are starting to appear that we're concerned about that person, so we do an outreach and we have a method. We have case managers that will help the students along in their path, and it's really been it's really beneficial. And then if they're having financial issues, there's PowerCat Financial. Lafine offers medical and psychological support. If there's financial aid, we can go to financial aid, the cashier's office. All these groups are here to help those students be successful. And then if there's a disability and classroom accommodations are needed, then student access centers available to help support them as well. There's multiple other offices on campuses, but we really have a great culture of support here at K-State. Now, other early, like I said, multiple offices. If they're an international student, we want to start with the International Student Center to help them to see kind of where we can find help. CAPS offers eight free sessions per semester for individual counseling or group counseling. If a student has legal issues, the SGA provides legal services and a lawyer for legal advice for the students. Student programs and involvement are a great resource to help get our students involved in different organizations, different events on campus. Housing has a great resource of staff and programming that can, again, help those students through things. And then the Center for Advocacy, Response, and Education, or the CARE office, can help people that are victims of dating or domestic or sexual violence. And that's a confidential resource that people can utilize for free. As we move up in seriousness and things that occur, we may have an incident on campus or off campus, and there may be a conduct hearing or a contract hearing. A conduct hearing is conducted by the Student Support and Accountability Office, and a contract hearing is conducted by our Housing and Dining Services staff. So that's looking at their ability to live on campus in their community. Now, if it's involving discrimination, harassment, sexual violence, or dating or domestic violence or stalking, then the Office of Civil Rights and Title IX will receive those reports and work with for the investigation and work through their process. Again, if there's a violation with an organization policy, the student programs involvement and Office of Student Support and Accountability work together. And for the code of conduct, again, there could be a Office of Student Support and Accountability or an SGA judicial hearing. And if there's an academic honor code violation, then that's going through that process. So there's multiple processes that can happen that aren't to the level of that threat, but could be addressing serious behaviors as well. If there's a serious mental health concern, there's agencies within the community for mental health services, for on campus through CAPS, through the Family Center, and just within the community, the Greater Manhattan community, and then for medical support, Lafine, Via Christi, and then emergency management can be involved. And then if we need to have police intervention for safety, for violation of law, or for well checks, then our K-State Police is a great resource that we can help get that, talk to them, and see what we can do to best manage the situation. But we want to make sure that that individual is supported in any way possible to get them the help they need and make sure that they're safe and in a safe environment. Now, when does it elevate to a threat management or a CERT? And that's when there are seriously disruptive behaviors and or emergencies, such as trauma, like experiencing trauma, being a victim of violence in any way, medical or psychological concerns, where it's to the point where it's continual intervention, continual thing we can look at to see how we can best support that individual. And then we have campus threats, where if someone makes a threatening statement that I'm going to do this, or this will happen if I don't get this, we need to be aware of that so we can figure out how we can support that and figure that out. And then any sexual assault that is referred to the university, we review through our threat management process and through our Title IX process to make sure, again, that the campus safety is thought of and taken care of. And then for certain criminal charges, there will at least be a review and potentially an outreach. Now, when we have one, we move quickly. We don't have a due process. Like people are entitled to due process, but we move very quickly in these processes because we don't know the severity or the nature of it. So we move we can move within 30 to 40 minutes depending on the referral. We always remember we want to adhere to our FERPA policy, and we want to make sure things are confidential. However, if my office or the Office of Student Support and Accountability is reaching out to you to ask you questions about a situation or an individual student, then we are using an educational need to know to get that information. We're trying to get that information so we can get as much data as we can to make a sound decision to support the situation. Now, If there are some exceptions to FERPA, such as emergency situations, um, if they're under 21, there's an alcohol violation, or if they're enrolling in other schools. Now, we always consider our student to be an adult, and but we will, again, we work within that. We understand FERPA, and we will make some of those judgment calls. Now, FERPA does allow for communication with parents when health or safety of their student is threatened, and we make that determination between my office and the Student Support and Accountability Office, that if we need to intervene, like how we will do so. And then we normally involve family members when there's a responsibility, like we're worried about the health and well-being of that individual. They have information that might be necessary to manage that incident better, or getting them involved may help them get a better understanding of the severity of the situation. And so we really try to use the family members as assets to the process. Another piece of this, and the final piece, is that when these situations occur, there may be media attention involved. And if that is the case, we want to have a united voice in those communications. So rumor control, we don't want to have social media posts and all that stuff. We want to make sure that we as an institution are responding in the correct and thoughtful way. And so refer people back to the communications and marketing, or the university president's office, or the dean of students office, and let them take those questions, let them respond to the media, because we don't want to put ourselves in a bad situation or give inaccurate information. So that's really it, wrapping it up in a nutshell. The biggest thing is that if you are finding a student reports to you a situation about themselves or their friends or their classmates, let someone know so we can help and get them support at the level they need and as quickly as possible. Thank you.